My name is Alex Waterhouse. I'm a climber on the GB team, professional climber, and I am sponsored by The Hangar. I recently traveled to the US to compete in the 2 Salt Lake City Boulder World Cups this year. So in the lead up to the come to the US, I spent most of my time in Sheffield at the GB climbing training space at Uni E. So we are off to London. This is a little bit of Uni E. A little look around. A lot of hours in here. A lot of hours. I'm feeling good for it. It was obviously a pretty difficult time as we were in a national lockdown and most of the gyms in the country were closed. So I made the decision to move into my van and spend time in Sheffield and have access to the best facilities that were open at the time and give myself the best chance possible. Now I'm driving to London. Tomorrow morning I've got a flight at 10 o'clock. My COVID test was successful, so we're good to go. With that, all of the travel documents seem to have come through. I am ready to go and smash, so I will leave you there and then I'll see you in a bit. So heading into the competitions, I probably was in about my best physical shape that I've been in, or at least as far as you can tell. Climbing's pretty tough that way. But mentally, I sort of was going in a bit unprepared. It's been a long time since I've competed at all, and having never competed on the international senior circuit, I really didn't know what to expect. So I was trying to go in with the attitude of having as much fun as possible and just enjoying the experience and learning as much as I could. But I felt good. I was looking forward to it. So the first of the 2 World Cups was my first ever. I went in excited and sort of ready to show what I got. I came out to the first boulder and it was like a coordination jump. So you did like a groove up into a coordination move. And I knew I could top it. I knew it was the sort of boulder that I could do. And I feel like most other days I'd have got it done. But 5 minutes isn't a very long time in a competition. And when it's your first time out, it can be pretty intimidating. And I left disappointed. I didn't manage to top the boulder. I knew I could have done it, and it's tough in a World Cup round when you know that if you don't do a boulder that you know you can do, then it's going to be pretty tough to make it to the next round. And then I came out to the second boulder and by far the hardest boulder of the round. And got a little bit of a beat down. And so I left my first 2 boulders without a top and sort of a little bit frustrated. At that point, it was important to sort of remind myself to why I was there and like re-find the fun again. Go out to the third boulder, ready to like try really hard, but also ready to go out and enjoy myself. I came out to the third boulder, still a hard boulder, but like I felt like I found the fight and I found that like flow that I was looking for in the comp. I felt like I'd like flipped a switch. I'd found that like the mode that I was looking for, the mode that I've found occasionally, but I knew what I'd done to get there. Come on. And then from then on, I managed to top the rest of the boulders in the round. Come on, Alex, come on! Yeah, let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah, Alex! Come on, Alex! That's it! Woo! Come on! Come on, Alex! Come on! Woo! Woo! Yes, Alex! It's done. Number 1, first World Cup ever. I am roasted. I'm so tired. I feel like I had no right to be that tired. It's amazing how much 5 boulders could do. Overall, I'm really happy. To come out and like have a bit of a disappointing start and not do a boulder that I like knew I could have done. The first boulder I like came out, I was like, right, okay, do this. This should be fine. Looks like one of the easier ones. And then to not do it, just to have like a few different mistakes was disappointing. And then to have a hard second boulder right after that, it's like, get down a little bit. But then to come out and do the last 3, like, that's really cool. I'm really happy with that. I'm so tired. The altitude kind of got me. I got stitched on the first boulder because I was like, ragged attempts, go, go, go. Got to chill that out a little bit. And just attempts in general was probably not great. I feel like I needed to like tidy up a little bit. But to be honest, for the first one, I'm happy. Like, thanks for following along for the first one. And thanks to Claire for filming, because she's a legend.
Wait, the most important question. Did you have fun?
I had fun. I sort of forgot to have fun. I like, the first 2, I was like, after the first 2, I was like, wow, this is shit. Like, I'm not doing any boulders. And I was like, oh, wait, I gotta have fun. Like, that's what I'm here for. And the last 3, I had a lot of fun. So between the World Cups, it's actually a really interesting situation in Salt Lake because it's very rare you have 2 comps separated by 1 week, close to same setters, same walls, same holds, same place. There's no training that you can do in that time to make yourself any stronger. So I'd have loved to have been 20, 30% stronger in the first comp, but it wasn't going to happen. All you can do is go away and focus on the mental aspects, and because that's the only thing you can change in that amount of time. So we are heading back to the wall for Salt Lake City World Cup 2. Qualifiers are this morning, so we're at pretty early start right now. It's about 7:30. Just feeling ready to get out there and give it what I got. The last one went pretty well, so I'm looking to sort of improve upon the little mistakes and go in with a little bit more knowledge of what's about to come. I still feel a little tired, maybe a little fatigued after last week, or at least I have for the last few days. I think I'm gonna feel good today, but I won't know until I start warming up. But I think my preparation's been as good as it can, so yeah, we'll see how we get on. I came out to the first boulder and it was another coordination move in the same vein as the first comp. This time I stepped back, I took my time. And I was able to execute the first go, which is about as good a start to the round as you can get. Coming out and flashing the first boulder is a pretty good way to start. But I knew that wasn't the hard boulder. That wasn't where the result was going to get decided. That wasn't going to be the difference. The second boulder, on the other hand, looked like a pretty stiff customer. You started off with a jump to a sloper, and then it was some really tensiony slopey moves with a sort of hero move of a toe hook catch at the top. And I came out to it and I was like, I didn't know whether I could do it. It's not like traditionally my style, but like it's definitely something that I've been working on a lot. I had this like surreal moment. I pulled on the first hold and I was like, this feels so sticky. Like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it on this go. And I just like, to be honest, I don't really remember it, but I just like totally switched my brain off, let myself climb, and like found myself on the top. And that feeling was pretty sensational. Like at the top of that boulder that I knew was really hard, and I felt like I'd put in my best performance on it, and then like the crowd and everything like all like rushed back to me at the same time, and it was like I like jumped down and got like little goosebumps of like, felt really good. But then I had to finish out the round, right? That's 2 boulders in. Like 2 boulders is not enough to make it to a World Cup semi-final, which is what I wanted to do. And so I knew that I had to clear out the rest of the round. So I just like took that same flow, that same trust in my climbing throughout the rest of the round. The third boulder I found, I just like switched it on and it didn't feel that bad. I just slipped off the start once for a stupid reason, but like got up it pretty well. The fourth boulder was like a bit of a sketchy slab. I got a little too tied up in a knee bar. I thought I was gonna like tech my way through it. Ended up just pulling on the holes. It's much easier. So fell off that and did that second go. At that point, I was fairly sure that I'd done enough. 4 tops in that round, I think was gonna be pretty good based off of how it felt. I got to the 5th boulder. I read it a little bit wrong and saw it as a jump to a jug and hold like a right hand, right foot jump. I thought it was going to be pretty, I thought that would work and almost did it on my first go, so it sort of drew me in. It was only in the last minute that I saw that it was possible to press out to the zone. So I was able to secure the zone, but just from there I didn't quite have the time to piece it together. So I sort of came off the last boulder and was looking around. I was like, I really wasn't sure I didn't know if I'd done enough. So I was like looking at people in the crowd being like, what, is it enough? Ooh, is it enough? And then like, fortunately somebody was like giving me a big nod and I was like, oh, yes, that feels great. And then you have to go and sit in a chair for 5 minutes afterwards just for like an appeal window. I'm sat in the chair like, woo, like psyched, chucking stuff around. And I was like, oh God, I've got to compete tomorrow. Like it's gonna be big. I went into the semis, to be honest, just wanting to like enjoy the experience and have fun and learn what I could. I wasn't focused on the result. What I really wanted to do was like recapture that same mental state and performance from the day before. I knew if I could manage that, then I'd be happy with whatever the result was. Isolation was definitely pretty intimidating. The day before, most of the people in isolation at the same time as me were sort of lower ranked competitors, but qualifying for the final for the semi-final in 7th, there were some pretty strong people warming up at the same time as me.
The gentleman with the best shorts in the game, representing Great Britain, the dark horse from
The gentleman with the best shorts in the game. I'll take that. They are pretty good. I do have a good time. I came out to the first boulder and immediately saw a crack. And now I spent a lot of time crack climbing and I really enjoy it. And so I was happy. Like I figured that it would be something that I was going to be good at and sort of, again, switched my mind off. Was enjoying it immediately and made it through the boulder pretty easily. Getting to the top of that boulder was enough for that round. It felt like it was, I wanted to come out and topping a World Cup semi-final boulder like was basically the goal going in. I'd have been a bit disappointed if I'd got no tops, but to come out and top the first one, flash it was sort of goal achieved from there. So from then on, it was just about having fun, enjoying the rest of the round and seeing what I could do on the boulders.
Yes, buddy. That is right.
The second boulder was, I was fighting against it a little bit. It had a really hard first move. So you jumped out of a pretty powerful position into a really powerful position on a big sloper. And I tried that jump the first go and it felt hard but possible. And then I spent a few goes like trying to figure out another way because it felt pretty hard. So I was trying some toe hooks and pulling over, but it was just so hard to release out of them that it was never going to happen. So I sort of stepped back and with 30 seconds left on the clock, pulled back on for one final go. Managed to stick that jump with a little like power scream, really trying hard. And then turned around at the clock and there's 15 seconds left. It was like, right, time to go. And then just like, I managed to get to the zone and was setting up for the final move, turned my shoulder around and like 4 seconds left. It's like, right, time to go. And then just went for the final move and my right hand ripped off and didn't quite get it. I can't say I'm frustrated to not get the top. I don't feel like I got there with enough time to really give myself the best opportunity. But to know that I'm capable of topping probably the hardest boulder of the semi-final round was pretty cool. Came out to the third boulder. it was another thing that I thought would be pretty good. You like reached out from the start to this little ratty crimp and then did a jump and a mantle to the top. And I just executed, found the flow and pulled really hard. I have to say, when I got to the top of that one, I was pretty surprised. I reached the top hold and sort of, it forced you into this like turnaround to the crowd, and I like reached the top hole, felt super secure, and then like, again, all came flooding back, and I could like see 1,000 people, 2,000 people like psyched and cheering. Like, I don't know, it felt like a surprise. Again, it's nice to come out to every boulder and be surprised at topping it rather than disappointed that you're not. So I came out to the last boulder and I thought there was still a chance of making the final. I thought my performance in the round, especially having 2 flashes, would put me in a good position if I could top the last boulder. So I really took my time. I mean, the thing was hard. It was a hard boulder and like very technical, but I knew it was within my style. On my first couple of goes, I struggled to get established, but then made it all the way up to the last move. And it was this big sort of lurch from a terrible foot all the way to a big slopey pinch at the top. And as I was setting up for the move, my foot slipped and I came back down. There were about 2.5 minutes left, and I was like, it took me about 40 seconds to get up there on the first time. So I basically was like, I've got one more go. I'm gonna give it everything I've got. And I just like stood on the mat, so like collapsed back down and lay down on the floor like I've got 1.5 minutes here to like contemplate what I'm gonna do next and figure it out. So I was lying on the ground like chalking up and putting liquid chalk on and just sort of preparing myself to get on for one final fight. And again, I like put a lot of like hard work in, got to the last move.
Come on, Alex, come on!
And just came up short. I wasn't disappointed to not top it, but it would have been pretty cool to get it done. But to come away from the round with 2 tops and 2 finish holds, it was a surprise. And to find out that I'd ended up in 8th, while it was still a couple of spots away from the final, like to get so close on my first time out, it was validating. It felt like I could like achieve like basically my dream of my entire life is to make a World Cup final. So to like be that close away and just know that I could do it and know that there was more in the tank, very, very satisfying. So coming back from the US and now having spent a few weeks back at home, I have to say it took a little while for it to sink in and for me to sort of understand what had happened and really like process it. I mean, I'm still as psyched as ever. There's definitely this like lull after you achieve something that you've been working towards for a long time. There's this big like ramp up and everything is focused on it. Your entire day, all of everything you think about is that one moment, that one day. And then it sort of happens and you have this big like, like a big release. As I sort of process it and understand like really how well it went and how much fun I had and what I learned, like I'm just really excited for the future and to get back into training and get psyched again. So next up, hopefully World Championships in September, and then there's a tour of Asian World Cups in September and October. Hopefully get out to Korea and China and get back on the world stage.